You might have that one conversation or that one person listens to something. I mean, I've been doing public speaking for 20 years and I've had people come up to me and say, I saw you speak 10 years ago at this conference. I don't know who they are. I can't remember them, but they go, can you come and talk to my business because we need a hand?
Wow.
I just go, wow,
Wow.
So these are just putting yourself out there like you are. Things only good can happen from that, There's only good things can happen. And it might not happen straight away, but there will be someone out there whose life you change through this conversation and other conversations. And there might be someone out there who will change your life, potentially, for the better.
Welcome back to Relatable Wisdom, the podcast where everyday people share the quotes that changed how they see the world, offering you daily reminders that wisdom lives all around us. Today's guest is Lee Stewart, an author and sustainability expert who spent about 2 decades helping companies build purpose into profit, from boardrooms in Sydney to mentoring Pacific nations at global climate summits. He brings a quiet conviction that real change happens when we choose progress over perfection. Let's settle in and hear the quote that guides Lee's approach to making a meaningful impact. Tell me your name and what you do.
Yeah, my name's Lee Stewart. I'm coming to you from Sydney, Australia, and I run a sustainability consulting business, and I'm an author of a best-selling book called How to Build Sustain with Your Business Strategy. And I help companies make sense of sustainability and help turn that into a competitive advantage.
Okay. Thank you for being a guest on the podcast, Lee.
Pleasure to be here. It's good to chat to you.
Yeah. What's your favorite quote?
My quote is, go for progress, not perfection. And the reason why I've said that is because of where I work. A lot of companies will want to be perfect before they make a start. And I don't know what perfect is. And unfortunately, when you study sustainability, you're always taught best practice. And what I've done was I've worked in sustainability for 20 years. I would take any practice over best practice because we get paralyzed about what is best practice and we just don't get on with it and start doing things. So progress over perfection.
Ooh. Okay. So when you say progress or perfection, I know these are all they are abstract words, right? Concepts, progress, perfection. Could you contextualize that for us by giving us an example of what each of them means?
Yeah. So progress to me in what I do in terms of sustainability is getting on with doing something. So say, for instance, your business or your school, your operation creates a lot of waste. Go ahead and look at where the waste streams are and see whether you could improve the recycling or understand what goes in the waste bin, whether you can stop it going there in the first place. Don't go spend months trying to design a circular economy plan that's perfect and that's fully aligned and all that other stuff. Go and start doing things. Get your hands dirty a little bit. Go and see where those impacts are. Go have a look in the bins, in the rubbish bins, see what's going in there, and then see if you can stop it from going in there. And you can make that change tomorrow without going to get a report and ask all these other questions and so forth. Progress over perfection. It means we get something done, we make a positive impact with things we can do now, and we build on that over time. So that's really what I'm meaning here. And I've sat in many boardrooms and companies where they want a perfect report and they just keep sending you back to do more work when we could actually have done things and made a more meaningful change rather than be paralyzed about what is perfect.
Why do I feel like perfect oftentimes is used in context where people have absolutely no idea what they're talking about?
Yeah, great question. Asked that so many times, and I've seen it used by boards and executives as a more delaying tactic to not make a decision. Oh, we need more information. And another quote, which I'd like to say to you, maybe when you're 100% right about something, you're most likely too late. That opportunity's moved on and so forth, right? You've wasted your time. Yeah. So get on and try things. It's just like, I know, my son plays cricket. He's never going to be perfect. Or golf is another thing. Go out there and hit some balls. You're never going to hit it perfect. Even the guys on TV do not hit every ball perfect. You've got to keep trying and honing your craft. And by doing, progress.
Because the reason I said that earlier on is most people are like, I want to be perfect. And I'm like, okay, define perfection. What does perfection look like? Walk me through what that looks like. And you the next thing they start stammering, they have no idea what they're talking about. And I'm like, okay, how can you know if you've attained that perfection if you don't even know what that is?
Correct. Yes, we get tied up in that word. Oh, it's got to be perfect. Spent my whole career learning by doing and taking the knocks. And, waiting for the opportunity just sails you by, and you miss out on that learning experience or that opportunity.
Progress over perfection. Progress over perfection. I just want to go back to progress, right? Earlier on, you defined progress, and you gave the extent of having a sustainable, trying to make your business sustainable, right? And it's about asking yourself, what can we do today to walk one step towards that goal, right? And if I was to extrapolate what you said from that example, it means you have to ask yourself, where do we want to go to, and where are we now, and are we moving towards it?
Yep, exactly. And that's where a lot of my work comes in, where I help with company strategy. So you have a corporate strategy, and I embed sustainability into that strategy. So it becomes, here's our ultimate goal, our big sort of North Star. We want to have, say, for instance, we're going to have zero waste in our operations. How we're going to work towards that. You might not be able to get there for years to come, but there's stuff you can do tomorrow and today to work towards that. And so forth. And that perfect goal of zero waste in some companies I've worked with is 5, 10, 15, maybe even 20 years out. But they're doing things today that they'll measure and help motivate their teams to keep going. So there's certain things that it's really important to actually identify that progress, reward that progress, and keep stepping forward.
I feel like it's a good thing you mentioned the word strategy, right? Because oftentimes people, when you ask them, where do you want to go, what they end up telling you is the plan. Oh, we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do this. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what happens is that, let's say something out of the blue happens, which does happen most of the time. I don't even know why they call it out of the blue, but it happens most of the time, where you make plans and then you realize that all those plans is absolute dog water.
Yes.
And and it's at that point you if you don't understand why do you want to even go to the place you're going to in the first place, you cannot, because now we're talking about progress over perfection. Sometimes perfection might be, it has to be according to the plan.
Yes, correct. And you've got to be more mature enough that plans change. A corporate strategy is always in flux, always moving, always changing. There's always disruption. Have a look at the world as today it was 6 months ago. There's so much happening that's out of your control. So you've got to have a nimble strategy to be able to look at these things and go, oh, geez, that didn't work, or hey, these things have changed. We're going to have a look at that, and so forth. What I do like about companies I work with that set a long-term strategy is that overall, especially in terms of sustainability, we know we must be looking after the planet, reducing waste, carbon emissions, looking after our people and communities. That sort of overall direction should not change. How you get about to do those certain things will be dependent on your strategy and things out of your control. But overall, you've got to have that sort of long-arching North Star. And even an individual, you would have something say like, I want to get a good education, I want to get a degree, I want to get this type of job. Those sort of things keep you motivated towards you. You will get setbacks. The path will not be a straight line, but the overarching big goal, the lofty goal you have should always be in your mind. And geez, when you achieve that lofty goal, you've got to set another one. You've got to keep looking forward, trying to get that progress happening. Otherwise, you can, sit on the beach and relax, but you'll be bored after a few weeks and be putting on weight like I've done, and all that other stuff, and just get soft. You've got to keep going for something bigger than yourself. And that's what progress to do. Yeah.
I like this expression, start with why. And, it's the title of the Simon Sinek's book, but I'll give an example. The example you gave is like, let's say you want to get this job, you want to get that. Sometimes you just have to ask yourself, why do I want this job? Why do I want this particular kind of job, right? And then it could be, with this type of job, I get to spend time with my family, my kids and all that, right? Depending on the things that are important to you. Maybe your elderly parents, right? I can get to take care of them in old age and all that. And then you're like, okay, this is the major reason why. But then every other reason that I try to come up with is just to like support me getting the job. But this is the core thing that I really love the job. This is the reason why I like to get the job. But then later on in the future, something else might come up, something better, right? That pays better, that gives you more time, more flexibility for you to be there. But then you're like, no, I have to get this job. But you forgot that it's not because of the job itself. That's not why you were choosing the job. It's because this job allowed you to do something where you get all these benefits. But if you don't really know the why, guess what happens? Now you're like, oh, you've gotten something better, but you can't even see it because you're like, well, this is not the original plan.
Yes. Yeah, you lose sight of it very quickly. You're chasing that next paycheck, that next promotion, and guess
Yeah.
what? You're probably spending less time with your family. It's hard. Yeah, you get caught up in that quite easily. The one thing I would also like to sort of mention is what I see the most enduring impact comes from not what you do once, but from what you actually choose to embed every day, and that sort of thing of the progress. You've got to have that consistency. And I've lacked it many times in my career, but I really struggled with that. But I set myself a project, and it was really hard. When I took it recently, I published a book last year that took me 3 years to write.
Congrats on that.
Yeah, and it was just so hard. It was really, really hard, and I had to have myself. It's never going to be perfect. I had to publish. I had to finish it. I had to go, look, there'll always be something happening that I wanted to add a new chapter, or something's changed in the world. I need to add this bit or that bit, or I've learned something else. But you have to sort of just go, no, there's an end date to this, and I've got to publish the book, and maybe there's another version coming. So, and it was that consistency of progress of doing 2 hours a day, for 6 months, locking yourself away from your friends and family and just doing that. Yeah.
It's a good thing you mentioned that, right? Because sometimes when people hear progress, they're like, "Oh, I'm working this job by now. I'm supposed to be making 100K a month, something like that. And by now I'm supposed to have 10 kids.
Yes. Yes.
By now I'm supposed to be a published, decorated, best-selling author.
Yep.
In all the whatever the list, or New York Times and all of them. But then most of those things, you realize that you can't control those things.
Correct.
You can't.
Correct.
There's nothing you could do, except of course you want to buy off. You kind of want to buy off all the media companies and say, yeah, put my book there. But ultimately, I think the resounding progress that actually is the one that is focused on what you can control.
Correct. Yep. And then how you react to the things that you can't control is the other thing. And that's where that word wisdom comes into play a lot. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. And you get better. I found I've got better as I've got older in my career. I've said, okay, I've seen this before. This is what happens. Don't stress out too much. Go for a walk, go for a run, be okay. Don't respond to that email or that challenge straight away. Sit on it. It doesn't have to be answered, get your thoughts together and just take your time with certain things. Yeah.
Let's take a quick pause. If you're enjoying this conversation and want more thought-provoking ideas straight to your inbox, join the Relatable Wisdom email list. It's free, quick, and filled with bite-sized insights, inspiring quotes, and behind-the-scenes reflections from our guests. Just head to relatablewisdom.com/join. That is relatablewisdom.com/join, or tap the link in the show notes. And hey, subscribing to the podcast helps more than you think, and it's free. So if you haven't already, hit that follow button wherever you're listening. All right, let's get back to the conversation. Yeah. And in terms of goals, strategy, and all that, it's a good approach to ask yourself that. I hope that the progress what I count as progress is not based on external factors and things that I cannot control, but rather on things that are within my power to show up every day. Like you mention that, you're writing the book, and you say, okay, I'm going to spend so amount of time to spend every day writing the book, and that was in your control, right? You could decide to say, 2 hours. You could say, I want to make it 3 hours. That's in your power. But whether the book gets to be bestseller, I mean, you could do certain things to influence, but that's not really in your power. That's not in your control. There's so many things that you don't have to ultimate control over. And most persons, they set goals where it's not based on what they can control. Let's say you want to lose weight. You're like, I'll lose 100 pounds. Yeah, I mean, that's nice.
Yes.
But that's not progress. Because now you're like, you don't feel like you make progress until you see that you've lost 100 pounds.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. If you set a big goal, I mean, you might want to say
that would take a long time.
Yes. Some drastic ways, but yes, you would just want to set incremental. You got the big lofty goal, but you're going to say, well, what I'm going to do tomorrow, what I'm going to do this week, what I'm going to do this month, keep chipping away. And the other sort of thing I think is that success for me has really come on things that I've suffered and done on my own when no one's watching. Yeah, you do. That's the training. If you go in the gym, there's doing the extra reps when no one's watching, or running an extra K, or me working at night between 8 p.m. and 1 a.m. when the kids are gone to bed to write this book. Is I think you measure of your success is what you're doing in your when no one's watching, and the consistency of that. That's big. Yeah.
Yeah. And the only reason it will make sense is because most times people are doing things for the reasons that other people are doing things, which ordinarily the thing that they are doing is important, right? The thing they're
Yep.
doing is good, but the reasons they're doing it is for the reasons of other persons. And so they have to look at those people to know if they are successful or not.
Yeah, and that's the scourge of social media and things like that. I've got teenage kids that sort of on that all the time, and it's really hard. You got to go sort of it's hard these days. So you've got to create your own path and sort of have your blinkers on a little bit and just go, I'm doing this. Yes, that's nice, but I'm going this way, and I want to be the best golfer or the best cricketer or play sport or write this book. You kind of got to be a bit headstrong in certain things, and that's what I think true success comes from.
Yeah, yeah. Because I feel like success it's basic from the word succeed, and for something to succeed, it has to attain the purpose for which it was designed for, right? If this podcast is originally designed for me to just have fantastic conversations with amazing people from all over the world, and if I'm having amazing conversations, then it's a success. Now, of course, most persons will say, "Oh, I need to get a million."
Yeah, have a million
stuff
followers.
like that.
Yeah.
Which there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There's nothing. If I get that, that's nice. But that's not my goal. Like every time I record an episode with a guest, I feel successful, and that's it. Now, of course, I go out of my way to edit and publish it and share it with the world. But inherently, in that moment, the moment I stop recording, and I'm like, wow, this was fantastic.
Yeah,
we'll go again.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, and you keep doing that. You might not get that big thing. You might just chug along, but then one day suddenly something might drop. You might have that one conversation or that one person listens to something. I mean, I've been doing public speaking for 20 years, and I've had people come up to me and say, I saw you speak 10 years ago at this conference. I don't know who they are. I can't remember them, but they go, can you come and talk to my business because we need a hand? I was going, wow. So there's just putting yourself out there like you are, things only good can happen from that, There's only good things can happen. And it might not happen straight away, but there will be someone out there whose life you change through this conversation and other conversations. And there might be someone out there who will change your life, potentially, for the better, definitely. So and that's probably come back to my progress over perfection. If you wanted to wait for the perfect podcast, you would not be here. You would still be tweaking it. You're waiting for the right software.
Look at my background, everything.
Yeah, all that. Just go out there, try it out, and let me guess, this podcast is probably going to go better than your first one you did because you know a few things, right? The recording's working, the tech's working, how to launch, how to write. You learn by doing. Don't be afraid of, oh my God, it's got to be perfect. Get out there, trial it. That's really powerful.
One of the things I've realized right from lived experience is that every forms of clarity I get comes from taking massive action.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not sure.
And when I was early in my career, I got asked, "Oh, Lee, we need a speaker for this event." I said, "Yeah, I'll do it." I had no idea. I was so terrified, totally petrified in the speaker from this crowd. And you always look, you won't get promoted, but you get fired if you stuff it up, You go, oh, God, what have I done? But then I just thought to myself, you know what? There's 3,000 people in this organization. How many of them go and public speak? Less than 1%. So instantly, as a young 20-year-old, I did that public speaking engagement. I'm now in the top 1% of the company. So that's it. You put yourself in uncomfortable situations. Just that's what it's about. You learn and grow so fast than that other guy there who's 10 years older than you, who's going, "Oh no, don't do that. I wouldn't do that." You might get fired if you say the wrong thing, but it's worth a go.
Yeah, the thing about taking action when you have no idea what you're doing is that whatever the consequence of those actions, they get imprinted on your mind, right?
Yep. Yep.
If you give a speech and let's say you get fired after giving that speech,
Yeah.
you after later on you go back at the end of the day, you're like, notes to self, how not to give a speech.
Yes. You learn and you yeah,
Uh,
exactly. I
yeah,
think,
yeah,
I need to push myself too. And I was going, I got asked to do something. And then I had to double check because does it make me feel uncomfortable? Yeah, damn right it does. I'm nervous about it. Then it's the right thing to do.
yeah,
Because
yeah. I think
if you, yeah,
yeah, fear is a compass. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, within reason.
Points to certain things. I
Correct,
mean,
correct.
not the like survivor fear, like where you like, you see a man, with a gun killing people
Yeah,
on the street, and you're like,
yeah,
no, you go the
yeah,
other way. No, that's not the kind of fear I'm talking. I'm talking about the
yeah,
basic stuff where I'm afraid to
yeah,
give a talk. I'm afraid to have hard
yeah,
conversations and stuff like that.
yeah.
It's a compass.
Yeah, yeah, it's a bit of courage. I think it's lacks in business sense. It's something to go, right, have a look around you. Especially in a large company, look to your left, look to your right. What are these other people doing? Do you want to get promoted? Do you want to go further? What are you going to have to do? You're going to have to get uncomfortable. That's pretty much it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I like what you said about finding um, the statistics. And
Yeah.
it's just like having a glass of water where the water is at the middle point, and you could say, "Oh, this
Yeah.
glass is half empty," or you could say it's half
Yeah.
full. And
Yeah.
at any point in time, you'll be right. It's
Yes.
just
Correct.
perspective. Yeah, but
Correct.
it's they're different things entirely. The glass is
Yeah.
half full. I can't believe that's nice. Oh, my glass is half empty. It's almost done. Uh,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
man, you touched on one of my other keywords is perspective too, right? You just
yeah,
And that's the things you can't control, but you change your perspective on something like that, you can really tackle some of these life hurdles that come your way so differently from the next person.
yeah,
Definitely by having that different perspective. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The thing about perspective is that for me, most of the perspective that is not helping people, they're not even aware that they have it, right? It's one of these it's like the way you see, right?
Yeah.
The way you see things, right? For most persons, let's say, for example, those of our friends that are short-sighted and,
Yep.
they can't have, yeah, right? Let's say, or I think a perfect example would be if you're colorblind, right? And you don't know, right? All the people around you are short-sighted. They're colorblind, right? You're not aware that oh, there are people that actually see far, right? I remember there were kids who back when they were very young in class, they couldn't see the board from the back, right? The teacher would teach, would write on the board. They could see nothing, and
Yep.
in their mind, they didn't see it as a problem because they felt that that's how everything was like. That's
Yeah.
how they were supposed to see. That's how the like.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
young now, right? And it
Yep.
affected their academics. These were actually bright kids, but they couldn't see what the teacher was writing on the board, what he was
Yep.
solving. They could hear, but it wasn't enough. Unlike the child
Yep.
that could see everything, take notes and all
Yeah.
that. And so when the child tried to write, he couldn't see anything, and so he just didn't write. And so the parents were like, "Oh, you're not serious. You're not this and all that." And it took some time before the kids were like, it was like, can you see the body? Like, yeah. And then like, oh, so something is wrong here. And
Yeah.
before, they took the
Yep.
test and got glasses. And so most persons, they don't even know that their perspective has an issue
Yep.
in the first
Yep.
place.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. And that's, if you're stuck with a really wicked or bad problem, just try get a different perspective on it. It does help.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Lee, for sharing this quote with me. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm glad we had this conversation.
Yeah, likewise. It's been great. It's been fascinating, and wish you and all your listeners all the best.
Yeah, you mentioned you wrote a book.
Yep.
Could you I know you just mentioned the book briefly, like it was
Yep.
so fast, like
Yes.
I
Yep. Well, it's
it was so
behind you, but
fast. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Okay,
So,
okay, okay. This
so
this will be
yeah,
on YouTube. So how to build sustainability into your business strategy. Okay,
yeah.
okay. So
So,
could you say it in an interesting way, like into a child, like say a 5-year-old child, what the book is
yeah,
about?
yeah. So if you work in
Exactly.
a business, yeah. So 5-year-old, maybe your mum and dad work at a place. It could be a school, hospital, or a big company. What my book does is help them become more sustainable, help their business look at what are their
Lee,
impact
I don't
stuff.
think a 5-year-old knows the word
No,
sustainable.
correct. I
Help
was
me
going
out.
to say
Yeah.
that. So it's going to help them look after the environment better, the
Okay.
planet and
Okay.
the people. and the people. So it teaches adults how to make their company, where they work, be a better force for good. And that's
For
looking after the
moderate,
environment,
yeah.
people. Yeah. So we'll get
Yeah.
that word sustainable out there. Good pick
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
we understand it, but we
Yeah.
don't really remember. I feel like you should find a story to tell to like quickly just introduce the book. It's over nice. Like, say, I wrote a book about this,
Yeah.
and yeah, and people will remember. It's like people remember story more than explanations and definitions.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I don't know about you,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. No, it's definitely, it is, for that sort of explanation about the story. It's for the adult story. Is I've spent 20 years working in corporations, and I've heard of all the jargon. This book cuts through all the noise to make it simple, and it's in a business language, so you can actually understand it and implement stuff today to make the world a better place.
yeah.
That's really
So
what.
the book is available on everywhere we get our books on.
Yeah, it's on Amazon. Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If people want to learn more about what you do and connect with you, where can they do that?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. If you look at Lee Stewart, LeeStewart, or my website is esgstrategy.com.au.
Okay. Oh, thank you so much for being an amazing guest on the podcast.
Yeah, likewise, been a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. The links to all the places mentioned will be in the show notes, so you can check it out.
Cheers.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to Relatable Wisdom. If you found something meaningful in this episode, make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening. If you'd like to support the show, you can do that by buying me a coffee. The link is in the show notes. Every little bit keeps the conversations going. I'm your host, Wisdom Okonkwo, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep growing.